Hi, guys. Today I want to talk about 5 things that have helped me become a better script writer. Stay tuned as I tell you all about it. While in film school, one of the things that we were taught is to understand the art, the business, and the crafts of screenwriting, basically the ABCs of storytelling. And I'm saying this because as a writer, you do not just want to be static, you want to evolve over time to become a better screenwriter. And this is very important because the effort you put into honing your craft determines the quality of stories that you end up putting out there. When you start your journey as a writer, of course, there's a good chance that people would love your stories. But to sustain that brand love, to sustain that quality work, you need to invest in yourself. And there are certain habits that I believe you need to do every day, perhaps weekly, and these habits will help you become a better screenwriter. And today, I'll be talking about 5 of them. And to make it easy for you to remember, I have put them under the acronym WRITE. WRITE, WRITE. So let's dive right into it. You see what I did there? All right. The first one is W, and W actually means to write. If you're going to become a better screenwriter or a better storyteller in general, you have to write. In fact, I have a rule of writing every single day. And as cliche as this might sound, the truth is that no writer becomes better without writing. You need to write about topics, you need to use your notepad, sketch, basically tell yourself stories. Because if the only time you grab your laptop to type or your pen to write is when you have a job, I tell you, you will not even enjoy it. At some point, it will start to feel like a chore. Another thing I like to say is that writing is not just a job, it's a muscle. And just like every muscle, if you don't flex it, it's going to stiffen. So you want to make sure that you are constantly writing on the days you have jobs, on the days you don't have jobs. Work on your spec scripts, work on short stories, jump on writing prompts. This is one of my favorite things to do. I jump on writing prompts like every single time. I go on social media and I pop up on all these writing communities. I see a writing prompt, I jump on it. What does that do to me? It helps me engage my brain. So I am constantly learning in the process of writing. Another thing I do as a writer, which is a second acronym, is to read. In the words of Austin Kleon, if you are going to be a good writer, you have to first be a reader. What does that tell us? It simply means that what you take in mentally, the knowledge you absorb, tells a lot on the quality of your writing. And I really want you to take this seriously. As a script writer, you cannot tell me that you want to be a script writer or a better script writer and you do not read scripts. Even if you don't read scripts every other day, you should have a day of the week. Personally, I have a day of the week that I devote to reading scripts. So you want to read scripts from renowned writers. You want to read other people's scripts. You want to learn from it. So reading materials, reading scripts, just basically absorbing knowledge, jumping on research would help you to become a better writer. We want to dive into the next letter, which is I. I stands for internalize. This is also another word for meditating. You see, the big part of writing is actually not writing, and I know this is not something common, but it's true because a good writer is firstly a great thinker of stories, a great thinker of plots. When you've read, you need to also internalize what you have read or what you have listened to. The moment you start to meditate on your stories, and you don't have to even make a chore out of them. It could be something as basic as you spending more time in the shower just because you want to think about your story. Do those back and forth, not just on your own stories, but even regarding the films you watch. Maybe you just saw a particular movie. Beyond enjoying the film, you can also internalize it, meditate on it, go back and forth, ask yourself the what ifs. If I were to write the story, how would I tell it? What you're doing is you're constantly engaging your brain and teaching your brain how to tell stories. So internalize those premises, internalize those story ideas, internalize the movies that you have watched. It will help you in your writing journey. Next is T, and T is talk. Yes, talk about your stories. I do not want to underestimate the power of talking about your stories. In fact, one of the things I do before I write my scripts, the moment I have a story idea, I call my friends and I talk to them about my story. Sometimes I just even jump on a call with my siblings and I say, guys, I have a story idea and I want to talk to you about it. Tell me what you think. So as I start talking about the story, they start to ask me questions. What that does is it helps me realize if my stories are compelling enough. Because one bias you have as a writer is that you think your stories are the best, are the next best thing after sliced bread. But it may not always be the truth. Sometimes your stories could be good, but they might not be great enough to be seen in a film. Now, when you talk to somebody about the story, they begin to point at the loopholes, or you could even ask them, if you see something like this on the screen, would you find it interesting enough for you to watch? And then when they start to tell you that, oh, well, maybe not, you then know if the story is strong, or if the story has a strong conflict, or if you could refurbish it into something better, or altogether discard it, or even turn it into something else that is not film. I mean, film is just one part of storytelling. There are other aspects that you could always dive into, right? So talk about your stories, talk in communities, talk to your mentors, talk to your coaches, talk about your stories. It helps you to even develop, you know, a story idea. And when you talk about your stories, I think you should be open to critiquing. When people listen to your story and they tell you, this story is good, but I think you should do this better. I'm not saying you should accept everybody's advice, but there is room for you to say, okay, they say they don't like my story. Why don't they like my story? And I think it really would help you, get better. Lastly is the letter E. Now, before I talk about letter E, I want to say if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click on the subscribe button now. Like the video as well. All right, let's dive into E. E stands for educate. I think this is one big secret that a lot of writers underestimate. Somebody once said, when you educate other people, when you teach other people, you end up teaching yourself twice. What that means is when you teach other people about your craft, you tend to get better. And personally, I can attest to the fact that this is so true. My first attempt at this was when we were in film school and we were learning script writing. I organized a WhatsApp group chat for my friends. All of us were script writers, of course. And then we had like assignments. So we would go on YouTube, watch videos, and then would come to the group and teach each other what we had learned from those videos. I tell you, those of us in that group, we did way better than those that, were not in the group. I'm not even capping. Like those of us that did that, we did, we did tops. Personally, my film won best film award at film school. So it helps you just get better at your craft. And you don't have to also open a YouTube channel for you to teach other people about your craft. It could be as basic as you calling your friends, to come over to your house, or even right there online. I mean, these days the virtual world is a thing. You could just create a WhatsApp group or something, and then you just talk about your crafts, discuss what you have learned. Maybe you're even learning how to write a TV series, and then your friend is learning how to write a particular genre that you have not yet mastered. And then you guys teach yourself, you talk about it. It would help you to become a better screenwriter. So let me recap. What are the 5 things that will help you become a better screenwriter? You write, you read, you internalize, you talk, and you educate. And I hope you find all of what I've said helpful. Again, I would say that, especially for those that are just starting their journey in Nollywood, don't be in a hurry to jump into the limelight. I mean, it's a great thing to desire fame and influence, but one thing you want to do is to be ready for that fame and influence when it comes. Get ready and be prepared. Do these 5 things and become better while the world awaits your shine. It is me, Jemima the writer, aka the excellent storyteller, and please keep being awesome as you should be. See you in the next video. For now, it's bye.